Howdo, everybody. In the last video, I had pulled all the panels out and started painting them, and then I realized that I needed to add the foam underneath the back part and up against the old, what would be called the firewall. So we got panels put back in there. The farmer in.
Liddell.
The farmer in.
Liddell.
Hi-ho, da-dirty-do, the farmer in.
Liddell.
I wrapped them with some butcher paper type stuff. I think it's actually like construction paper for protecting your floors on like new construction, or anyway, it's paper. So we got that in there. We got some foam. We'll get some foam put in, and we'll see how well it does. Well, here's hoping that's enough. All I really want to do is just get a little bit of support in there, but we'll see. It's kind of cold. I hope it expands enough. Okay, well, as you can see, we have foam sticking out underneath of that reddish colored paper, so that worked out just nicely. Up front, I will have to take all of that apart again, and we'll see what that looks like. So let's get after it. All right, that's what I was kind of wanting it to do. Obviously, we didn't get all of the areas filled in, but I wanted to put the paper on there so it didn't stick to the wood. So that did exactly what I wanted it to do in that fashion. And then this paper can stay there. It's really not going to hurt anything. Looks like we got everything filled in pretty good, other than right on this side. I'm trying to figure out if it's really all that important. I could rewrap this thing and then try and get some foam like back in behind here on this side, and then spray some right in here, and then fold this thing back up again. That way it's got the foam everywhere. Really, it's just kind of an insulation factor and sound deadener. I don't know how much heat you're gonna lose out of that little bit right there. Probably not much. I'm also kind of curious to see if any got underneath. But until I pull these panels up, we're not going to know. Another thing I could do is when I cut these little access doors out, I could put just this corner back in and then try and do it that way. But again, I'm not entirely sure that it makes a ton of difference. I mean, you've got just glass right here. So in the summer, it's going to be hot. In the winter, it's going to be cold. Obviously, you can have a little heater or something like that. But I think I'm kind of happy with it. These wires, I still need to get those for the side markers, so they are, I'm glad that it didn't go up that high, and I didn't really want it to. This is plenty low because the dashboard kind of sits up here, so I think we're good. I can pull it apart and get all this in the back taken out, and then I'll mull it over in my brain and see if we want to try and worry about this anymore. I don't think it's really that big a deal. The bigger cavern area was over in here where the steering column came through and stuff. It was about yay thick. So I think I'm pleased with where we are right now, and we'll call it good enough. right, so you just peel the tape off and there's no foam stuck to anything. But the reason that I did this before I painted it and whatnot is because worst case scenario, I got foam all over everything. I could just sand it down and I wouldn't be wasting all the time that I had spent on painting it. So it looks like we got a little bit of expansion down here. So we got the foam kind of started to come out, but the tape pretty much held it in. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've got a little chunk of 2x6 that I stuck in there so that I could run these wires down underneath of everything and then out and for the tongue, for the tail lights and the turn signals and all that kind of thing. But we'll get this all cleaned up here and I'll show you what it looks like in the back too. All right, as you can see here, we got a nice little snowman. Anyway, so the foam expanded a little higher than what we needed. It didn't fill in everything, but that's okay because we're gonna bridge from like right here over, and this gives the support that I was looking for. So I'm just gonna take a Sawzall blade and trim down basically to where these little keepers were. And that's just for the back seat thing to sit down on. And then it'll pop out right where the tape is. Voila! I left this piece of wood in just so you guys would have something to sit on. All right, well, the battery's about to die, so I guess we're gonna call it for right now. We'll be right back at you. All right, good morning, y'all. It is a new day. We have been doing a whole lot of painting panels. Let me show you. We have a bunch. There's 2 panels over there, and those ones down here. And I'm putting 2 coats on each one of them and then flipping them over and putting 2 coats on the other and painting the edges the whole time through. But I'm not gonna bore you with all of that because we've all seen too much paint dry already. But anyway, it's taken a bit longer. I apologize we haven't had a whole lot of videos coming out because we just got so much of the redundant in it. I don't wanna bore you with it. But anyway, we are getting further along. Still haven't filled in that area. I keep going back and forth. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put some more foam in there, so I haven't taken this panel out yet. But the back filled in fairly well. The important part is all the way against the back there. I'm not worried about this part that didn't fill in because it's gonna rest right along that spot. You can see the angle iron comes in. So it's just spanning like 8-10 inches, but it does have something to sit on at the very back. And that's like clear up by where your head's gonna be anyway. So unless you got a really heavy head, I don't think it's gonna be a problem. That's 3/4 inch plywood right there. Anyway, so this is one of the lift up pieces. There's the front and that's the back for the driver's side. So I'm kind of curious how much of a gap I needed between where the door is and where it meets up. Well, that's the very back, but you get the idea. Anyway, I'm hoping that probably not in this video, but hopefully in the next, we'll actually start wrapping some of this up. I just realized I still have my little headlamp on. Had to let the chickens and the ducks out earlier. Hey, kind of happy news. We got 6 duck eggs this morning. We only have 6 ducks, so that's kind of the best you can expect, especially this time of year. But anyway, not related to the snug bug at all, but this is kind of what we do. Anyhow, we'll try and get some of this stuff wrapped up in the next video, but in this one, we're just trying to get a bunch of loose ends. I'm trying to get a little bit more content so it's not a 5-minute little blurb, but also at the same time, not bore you too much. We'll see what we get wrapped up, and then we'll get it edited, throw it out to you. All right, let's see if we can't get something of any value done today. Sheesh. So this is the wire coming from the tongue. We're going to tie it into the tail lights, turn signals, side markers, that kind of thing. I think I've got what I need. We'll find out together. Don't know that it's really necessary to have this thing routed super tight or snug against anything, but it's going to be underneath, so it won't really matter too much. This is the controls and everything for all of what's in this door. I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to use, but I wanted to hang on to as much of it as I could just in case. There's a little module that I'm got to figure out how to try and work. If I can get the sunroof to come open, that would be awesome, but electronics is not really my strong suit, so we'll see how that goes. That's all this here. All those wires, and all it does is the clock and the little lights that are underneath here and the sunroof. That just baffles me, but whatever. We're going to ignore that part of it for right now, and we're going to ignore this part of it. All we have to deal with is this here, and I don't even know where all of those wires go, but we're going to do what we can with what we got. I have them labeled for what they are, but first I think what I want to do is let's get this routed over and up, and then we'll get it stripped back and we'll start tying in the wires. We know what they are. Like I do a lot of, I'm repurposing wire, and there was a red wire tucked back over. That's what I was struggling with. All right, so typically in trailer wiring, you've got at least 4 wires, but we're gonna run more so that we can hopefully have backup lights. And I know there's a way of doing brakes, like for if you've got a tow rig behind, like say a motorhome or something like that, there's a way of setting up the brakes electronically. I got to look into that still, but like typically on a trailer, it's just an electronic wire that would go back, and then that would charge the magnet style brakes on a trailer axle. But this has got automotive style brakes, so I got to figure out what the way of working that out is on like a tow rig. But so typically, yellow is your left turn signal, green is your right, brown is your tail lights, white is your ground. That's a 4-wire system for a standard trailer that doesn't have brakes. Red would typically be a charge wire or the brakes, and then a lot of times blue is backup, and then the black wire is either the brakes if it's not red. But so what we don't have is, we're either, because we've only got 6, we're either going to have a charge wire and backup lights, or I could use the charge wire as the brake light. I don't know that I necessarily have to have a charge wire on this, but I might set that up as a separate wire. That's the difference between a 6 and a 7-pin plug, like on, say, like for a fifth wheel or a big camp trailer. The charge wire would be to keep your 12-volt batteries charged up. I'm gonna have a 12-volt battery on this so that all the accessories work, and if I can figure it all out, I'll actually put it into where you can plug this thing into 110 and it'll have a charger and all that stuff on it. But for now, we're gonna set it up so that this is the charge wire, and I'll have this one as probably the backup lights, because we have all of that. The brake thing, like I say, I'll have to figure that out later. For right now, we won't even clip that one because I don't have anything for it yet. Well, welcome to the way my brain works. Kind of scary, huh? Okay, this is the part where I say I am not a professional. I am not an electrician. This is just what I'm doing. It works for me. Don't do as I do and think that that's the way it should be done necessarily. Okay, there's kind of a little bare ring, but I wanted to scratch it off and make it more bare so I can use it as a good ground. So we're probably going to end up having to put a lot more to this one particularly, but that's okay. We'll add it later. It's a bolt. And that nut's got a little washer underneath of it so that hopefully that'll make it to where it doesn't try and spin the little eyelet every time you tighten it down. It'll let that washer spin instead of trying to reorientate all your wires and everything for you. So that's got wire coming in from the tow vehicle tied into this. This wire is tied in with it as well, just in that butt connector. That goes to the 12 volt power outlet that's in the back, in the trunk area. And then I've also got it tied in on the back side of the wire up to this, which is the two side marker lights. The rest of it is grounded out through the battery, but I went ahead and left this open. I could run a wire and loop it back to this, but that's kind of redundant. Not a bad thing. Anyway, we've got a bunch of brown wires that are all ground with Volkswagen. But now I'm going to run through and try and get the rest of these hooked up, and then I will put a 12 volt supply on there. We'll see if the battery, my 12 volt supply will make the tail lights light up. Well, tail lights, turn signals, all that. Okay, I tucked it in there because it was helping me get him out of the way, but now that, I'll just leave the labels on, it doesn't matter. All right, this one is the third tail light that I believe I have. The third tail light, the lens is broken, but I'm going to go ahead and wire this up with it anyway. These particular connectors also are, they've got, this is shrink wrap. And then I've got some that have a solder joint in the middle, but I don't think that's these ones. So we'll hit them with some heat and I'll shrink wrap around it. That kind of helps hold it a little bit, but what it mainly does is keeps corrosion out. Keeps moisture out so it doesn't corrode. Driver's turn signal. So that should go to the green wire. Trying to detangle some of these as best I can, but man, I gobble wires.
Hey, babe.
Yeah.
Breakfast.
All right. I'll be in just a second.
Okay.
Passenger's turn signal. Did I just do that wrong? I think I did. Y'all, I think I should go eat. Passengers is right, which is green. Drivers is left, which is yellow. And I just hooked that up backwards. Wow. Yeah. Time to go eat. Okay guys, you're gonna have to excuse the noisy dryer in the background, but look what this pretty lady made for breakfast. What do you call that, dear?
Made up.
Made up, okay, well, it's potatoes and andouille sausage, and then there's some tater tots and some scrambled eggs. Mama's leftovers from last night, but that's okay, because we're getting our money's worth out of it. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Okay, y'all. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. We just did get breakfast ate, so maybe now my brain will work in a little better fashion. So, when I wire trailers, I remember the L in left for yellow and the right in green. That's how you wire it. Well, when I said drivers, my brain grabbed onto the R, and that's really the left side. Anyway, like I said, don't follow what I do as the way it should be done. We're going to take this wire right here and we're going to cut it off because I put the wrong one on there. So this one over here, passengers turn signal. Passengers is right, and it goes with green. Oops. So I need to cut this one off, put it to the yellow, put this one to the one that's right there, the green. Funny enough, it's got a green line on it. I'm probably going to get these wires done, and then I'll edit this thing so I can send it out to y'all. And then I will get on with all the other chores of the day. And you might see that in next week's video. Or Wednesday or something. Now we've got our ground, left, right, tail. So there's a 3-wire system and there's a 4-wire system. One of them has separate brake wire, and the 4-wire maybe we'll edit all this out so I don't sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, because I don't. I'm going to use the red wire as a 12-volt positive, so we're going with black. There, I made a decision. Third tail light, that's one of them. So we've got our 2 backup lights that I'm going to have to... I hope all this wasn't a waste of time, because I've only got 1 wire left on this 6-wire plug, and it's for the power. Guess we better start hooking some power up to the wires up front and see if we can't figure out what's lighting up. Okay, we hooked up the yellow wire and the left turn signal is lit. Green wire, that's that turn signal. All right. Brown wire, those are both lit. And the ones on the side, I'll show you. Those are lit. And then the other one, you can kind of barely see the reflection on the cardboard. Anyway, so now we got to figure out the brakes. Okay guys, wiring has never really been my strong suit. I know how to get myself in trouble, which is where I'm pretty sure we are right now. I've got most of the stuff working, but that whole 3-wire, 4-wire thing, as I was talking about earlier with the brake lights, has kind of got me all stumped. I got to figure out which wires are what, because Volkswagen doesn't wire it like a trailer. It's got all kinds of different colors and whatnot. And I'm getting super frustrated. Nothing's working, and we got all kinds of other things we're supposed to be doing today. Blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, I think we're going to call it quits for this video. I'll get it edited and throw it out there for you, and you don't have to sit there and watch me struggle and go, which wire is what now? Anyway, I've got a 12-volt power supply that I'll start putting power to each wire, and we'll figure it out eventually. But it ain't right now. I need a break before my brain explodes. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, because I'm still trying to figure it out. But anyway, have a great day, guys. God bless.